I get it.
Well, I'm so excited. It is a exciting time to come to you with a new author, someone I've just met. He's from my home state of Mississippi or lives there now. So Larry Jasek, welcome. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You have written a children's book and you're going to write more children's book. And let's talk about uh, Lint Land and the land of mismatched socks. I was just watching something this morning about a psychologist, and they talked about that every adult is really an 8-year-old kid and just a big body. So kids' books are just as good for us adults most of the time, because how often do we feel like we're in lint land and we're a mismatched sock, right?
Sure. No, absolutely. I promise you, no one that knows me will argue that I'm not an adult in a kid's body. So, or vice
So
versa, a kid in an adult's body.
So you're a family man, you have kids, you've raised kids, you have grandkids. Why the book and why the title of the book?
Well, the book is it's a product of just being engaged with my grandchildren, specifically my granddaughter Harper, who's actually the star of the book. But I've written stories and things all my life, and that includes just things for my wife, things for other family members, just stories that incorporate things. And my granddaughter had asked, "Oh, one day, Poppy, would you write me a book?" And yeah, sure, I'll write you a book. And the idea came up. She was helping with the laundry, getting things out of the dryer. And I remember telling her, just be careful. You'll fall in there and you'll go where all the rest of the lost socks and things go. And that became a whole, well, how's that happening? Where's that at? And so we just kind of put it together and wrote her a little story, which she absolutely loved. And here we are today.
Well, and that place is called Lint Land. So, you talk about as a kid, we talked a little bit about this before we went live. Um, Many of us struggled in school with different things, but you struggled with some energy and perhaps some ADHD. Kids struggle to read. So, how important is it to be able to reach them with the simple message of a book that engages them at their level?
Oh, I mean, it's so important. Again, like you said, I'm not diagnosed with anything, but I can look back and after raising children and being part of my grandchildren's lives, see some of their struggles and some of the learning. And I can look back again and see that I definitely had issues. Um, it's just being able to put something in writing and some child to get engaged in it and help build their vocabulary and their confidence. I mean, it means so much to me to see how that works. And
Yeah.
I mean,
And
at the
reading,
end, right, reading is so important. Being able to, even by the time I got to an adult, I realized that I had a hard time stringing two sentences together
yeah.
because
Wow.
I just didn't learn
Yeah.
well, and I caught up all my life, but
Well, and I think that, what happens with kids, second, third, fourth grade, maybe earlier, maybe later, but once they get labeled with a disability, I know this happened in my own family. My daughter's dyslexic. It's really hard. They begin to feel dumb. And the last thing you want to do as a parent or a grandparent is allow those feelings to fester. So, what you've done, and I think what is really great, is being able to reach kids with a book that help them to feel like they're not misfits. Because, one single solitary sock, we threw away a basket last week. It's like, oh my gosh, what do you do with these misfit socks? But a lot of times, those reading illiteracy can make a kid feel bad about themselves. So, how have you seen that wake a kid up and being able to read a book and say, you know what, I may be different, but I'm just as good as the next person, right?
oh, sure. I mean, we all learn at different rates. I'm blessed to work around a lot of smart people. And like I always tell them, give me a minute. I'm a slow learner, but when I got it, I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you can do as a person that's achieved or succeeded in anything is pay it forward. I'll never be able to pay it back to the people that were patient with me or recognize something in me and help guide me. And, that's all we can do is pay for it, whether it's within our own families or abroad,
Mm-hmm.
with anybody. At the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all
Yeah.
God's children.
And the importance also of making memories around things like this. We talked about unplugging. We talked a little bit about, just that one-on-one time. And it's not just kids, it's adults too. The relationships that bring people to feel as though they have value, that they matter. It's really good to be able to unplug, whether it be on a book or whether it be eyeball to eyeball. I mean, as you're dealing with your kids and grandkids, now that everybody's getting a little bigger, how important is it to be able to connect via real relationship?
It was just, I mean, you look at technology, and I like to hold up a phone and say this is one of the most amazing inventions in the world. It's
Mm-hmm.
also one of the worst,
It is.
in that you look around and everybody. I'm surprised people just don't walk into each other all the time because they're
I
all
know.
buried in a tablet or in the phone. And when you look at family, it's so easy. It seems like to go here, look at this, and while the parent or whoever's looking after them is doing whatever they want to do, and that's almost very selfish. And so it's so important to give them a book. I mean, golly, tablets are easy and they're neat and they're great, but they can get abused. And having a tablet, a book on a tablet would be great, but right. But we allow these children to dig into everything they don't need to, and to take those things away from them, and have an opportunity at the dinner table, whatever, and engage them
Yeah.
and make them part of something.
And the pace of which a tablet goes by, as opposed to the pace of which you read words, then the words are slower in a book than on a tablet, but that's a good thing, right? Because then you've got it. I mean, it just feels like everything's flying.
Oh
It's in
gosh.
fast forward mode. And when you sit down, I love to read. And part of that is because I can read at my own pace. I can read what I want to read, and there's nobody saying, hurry up and get it done. So I think that's so important, that the pace of a book is calming.
No, you're absolutely right. I always I joke, but I'm serious when again, it takes me a minute to learn to read or whatever. I always say, like, I can read Jack and Jill went up the hill, and it takes me a minute. I go, oh, Jack and Jill went up the hill. And so, we all process differently, and that book, like you said, allows you to go at your own pace. And then, I guess maybe the reason I'm a little slower is that, while I'm reading that, I'm jumping. I vividly and visually in my mind impart everything I read, and that's a gift for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
always, I've been able to just transport in a book somewhere. I didn't need
Mm-hmm.
all the colors and pictures. It may have been slow, but I was able to do it, and that was just such an imagination builder for me. And
Yeah.
what's funny is, throughout this whole process, notifying some cousins or whatever. I've got 17 or 18 cousins, and oh, you were such a great storyteller when you were a little kid. And what they mean is I was a wonderful liar that just really didn't care about the facts. And so, you make your own stories.
Well, speaking of, how important is imagination? I mean, we don't want to always have things in front of us that are telling us what to think. And you live on a farm and you have, time outdoors, and we have to train our imagination to be free and to go wild and to pursue things. So that's another level of why a book is a good thing, and unplugging is a good thing, because our imaginations are now being trained to not imagine.
Right. I don't see how, you know, the world is what it is today because of imagination.
Yeah, true.
And, when you look at all these wonderful inventions and things that have made us a modern society, came from somebody's idea, somebody's imagination, or somebody is built on someone else's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got it. You've got to foster that. And if it's imagination to get someone to write a book, great. Well, if it's somebody that, if it's an imagination that gets them to put together some Star Trek ideas that allow us to transport between here and there.
Mm-hmm. Beam me up, Scotty.
Right. Well, and here we are. Right. So
So So I think what you're doing is interesting because you've got a full-time job. You have taken something from your past and put it to work from something in your present, your grandkids, and you're utilizing a skill and some life experience to turn that into something really productive for other people. How important is that part of you? Because I know you don't have a lot of extra time. You've got a full-time job, you've got a wife, you've got kids, you've got grandkids, but yet you're cranking out books that help people tap into that part of them. How important is that part of you as a man to be able to produce things and make time for that?
I mean, ultimately, it is important, and I didn't realize it until someone took an interest in it. And again, there you go. Somebody fostered something in me. I don't sleep. I don't sleep a lot anyway, so there's a lot of time there. But ultimately, it's look, it's a legacy. I mean, nobody wants to be forgotten, and I've always said that one day I'll be gone. At my age, you start realizing there are fewer days ahead than there are behind.
Mm-hmm.
And when you move on, you want to be remembered for. I always tell people, I said, I just want to be remembered for, hey, that guy he put a smile on everyone's face, and he always left them laughing or in a good mood or something like that. You want to leave that positive behind. And
Well, and that brings me up to another point is humor. People don't laugh anymore. People are so serious. It's like, oh my gosh, we got to loosen up a little. We got to have some fun. We got to, make time for a little humor. And your books have that. And so, how important is the humor aspect of it? Because we need those outlets.
no, there's no doubt. I mean, humor is just is anyone that knows me will tell you I see humor. There's humor in absolutely everything.
There is.
And the first thing I do is I'm able to laugh at myself. Humor has always been more or less a coping mechanism for me because I've never been comfortable in groups or crowds or in an interview. and so, I look for the opportunity to make myself smile and hopefully bring somebody else a smile. And, sometimes it's maybe not at the right time, but it's definitely always well intentioned. But I mean, humor is so important. You're so right. I mean, we got to loosen up as a society and a race of people and look at each other and go, we're all human beings. We're God's children. And he wants us to be happy first. He wants us to love one another. And that involves us sharing our gifts.
Yeah, it really, really does. And I think that's what's inspiring about what you're doing is here you're just writing a book, a kid's book that you want to pass down and turn into a legacy. And someone says, hey, let me pass that on to my publisher, which happens to be my publisher. And next thing you know, that book is in print, it's ready to order, it's a top seller, it's a connection that someone made for you. And now it's opened up a whole future opportunity because now you've got plans to write other things. So I think it is a gift, but I think we have gifts. I think God does give us gifts, but we can't just sit home and twiddle our thumbs. We got to write the book. We got to get people to do the illustrations. We got to come up with the words. We got to do the work. Is that true?
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, don't keep your lamp under a bushel, right?
Right.
And
Don't keep your light under a bowl. That's right.
that's right. And so, I mean, and share it and encourage others and
Yeah.
pay it forward. I keep saying it, pay it forward.
Yeah.
I didn't get here if someone didn't pay attention to me or somebody didn't encourage me or someone didn't foster me. I'm fortunate to have had a wonderful growing up and had to rely on imagination. And, so many kids are going to lose that.
I know. And I think that's so sad because, I mean, at our age, that's all we had, go outside and play. If it's two sticks, you built a fort, whatever. I think that's part of who we are. And I think that's part of what, as parents today, need to hold on to. So now that you're on the grandkid end of things, what do you say to families, young families that are facing this technological age? I mean, it's okay to not do all that, isn't it?
Well, sure it is. And I can look back as a parent. You're struggling, right? You got kids. You're trying to make a living. You're trying to build a career. and there's so many opportunities that I missed. I can look back and go, oh, I should have spent a little more time doing this or that. And if you can just recognize that cue and stop for a minute and go and live that moment with your children or your family, that is just so important. And so, I think that's one reason God gives you grandchildren, so you can step in there when you see your daughters or your son going. You're so busy, like one of my daughters is just so busy, and actually Harper's mother, and so we're able to step in there and number one, build memories for us and her, and then be that surrogate parent while she's trying to build her life. And then at the same time, hope she recognizes what we do for the children and emulate, right?
Yeah.
And emulate. I get it. We're all busy.
Right.
And it's so hard to recognize when it's time to stop. And children they beg for attention. They beg for leadership. They beg for guidance.
Yeah. Well, kids are going to get your attention, whether it be positive or negative. And I've said that to many parents. They're going to get your attention. It's better to give it to them than them to demand it, and they will if they have to. And as much as we talked about technology, I mean, it's here to stay. We're not getting rid of our phones. We're not getting rid of our tablets. It's part of what we do, and it's a good thing, like you said. But I think being disciplined in the fact that at dinner time or certain times you're reading a book, you're doing things together, you do unplug, you do pull away from that. Nothing is necessary, and most things are not necessary. And it does create a legacy, and it does build memories. And I think that's the key point as us grandparents realize the importance of, right? You see that every day.
Oh, sure. And you say something that strikes and I wouldn't say nerve, but such a high spot with me, building memories, not just building our memories. You're building those children's memories.
Yeah.
Again, we're not going to always be here. And I can look back at my own grandparents and the time I spent. It's such a fond memory.
Yeah.
And memories with my own parents are just so fond of it, and it made me who I am.
Yeah.
And so we have that, we have that power to mold.
Yeah, we do.
Those little eyes are looking at us and make them look at something that's so positive and so loving.
Well, and I think books and stories are a great way to build that legacy. And so your book when did it come out? It just came out?
It came out the 21st, just the other day.
And it's already a top seller. Do you have it in front of you? Can you hold it up?
I wish I did. I actually ordered my own copy. I don't have a hard copy. So
that's so funny because we as authors are always waiting on our own books. I had to do that with one I just had come out, but I put it in the little I put it in the little thing that we did, but it's an adorable book. It's so cute, and it is the whoever illustrated it did a great job, and so it's available on Amazon. They can pull you up as an author, right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have more books come out, a series of 6. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But if you want to go to Lintland and find all those mismatched socks, then you're going to go on the adventure of a lifetime with Larry's new book. So everybody go to Amazon, get it for a Christmas gift. It'll be so much fun, and it will make a child smile, and it will bring families together as they read the book together and talk about what's important in life.
Yeah, that's the point of it all. And the other 5 are written; they're all in line to be released. And I enjoy writing them and being inspired to write them. And so I hope it brings that smile and brings that curiosity into somebody's mind to go do it for themselves, or go have the confidence to do it. I mean, I always tell people, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And
that's right. And I'll put the link to the book in the comments, so anybody that wants to order it can click right away and do that. Well, Larry, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for writing this book, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And hopefully we can come back after some more have come out and do this again, because this is always fun to talk about how to tap into a child, a family, an adult in the creative relationship building phase of all that we do. And I think that's the key part of your book, and families keeping that core communication open and intimate.
I look forward to it in the future. That's my goal now, is to be here again.
That's right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Everybody have a great day. And I'll put the link in the comments so you can get it. So signing out, everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.